Okay, I'll call the meeting to order, and this is the Historic Preservation Commission, and I'd like to have the roll call. We'll start with Heidi.
Heidi Rieger.
Jeff Howes here.
John Sampen here.
Will Radebush here.
And I believe Christina will be coming very soon, so we'll hope so.
She may be coming down the hall here.
Great. So we'll not get too far into the business, but the next meeting is scheduled for August 27th. Does that work for all of us?
Yes.
No problems.
Are you fine?
Yep, it's fine.
Welcome, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Christina Tracy here. We just called roll.
Oh, very good.
Under administrative items, we had actually several requests. One from George Winters for an HPC member to sit on the BG board. We decided we were not able to actually appoint somebody to be on their board, but we could perhaps have a volunteer come for some of their meetings. And Heidi has agreed to be that person. Thank you, Heidi.
Yep.
That's great. We had a message from Kathleen Dennis on October 12th about, concerning an event on October 12th called a community event. I just wanted to that briefly. This is the BG Song has reviewed the Bowling Green Improvement Plan of 2014 and the Community Action Plan of 2018 and identified two recommendations. They're planning a fall call to action forum where they will engage with interested stakeholders along with the city and members of the city council on how to best begin. We're very interested in this is Kathleen writing, we're very interested in connecting with the Historic Preservation Commission to determine our level of interest in this initiative. So, Heidi, if you can, as we go along, find out more about that, and we can discuss whether it's something we can be involved with, or at the very least, give them our blessing and our support. Did you get that message from Kathleen?
I've gotten several emails from, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I read through all the documents.
Okay, I can forward it to you if you don't have that.
No, I'm pretty sure I've gotten a lot of stuff. I just have to try to remember when the meetings are. And I know I'm on their list, so they've been communicating with me.
Okay, great.
I'm sure that I couldn't go at the last meeting that they asked me to come to, but yeah, they have my information. So
maybe we can put that on the agenda each week to see if there's any updates on that. Okay, local designations, number 4. We got our article done on the 100-year country club. Thank you for your help with that, Christina, and with your kids.
Absolutely.
I think it should come out in August, which is coming very soon. Update on South Main School. I think Jeff has a little bit of information there.
A little bit. I just sent you today, so you might not have seen it yet. A reply I got from David Roston, the owner. I emailed him last week. This time he responded right away. Should I read a short email to you?
Please.
And you also have it in your emails. I just asked him, I sent him a picture of the school sign that then was put up later that day after I sent it. And and asked him if there's anything going on with the old school. And he wrote, "It's amazing looking at the historic schools presentation. For such a small city, Bowling Green had those magnificent schools. It's shocking that the South Main School is one of the last remaining old schools in the county. As far as developments on the school, I have tried to sell the school building. I have received some offers, but nothing that interests me. I really think that my idea of turning a portion of the building into a hostel would work. I had plans drawn up, and I know that it would be a long-term successful project that would preserve the integrity of the school and benefit the city by supplying housing, I think he meant, for students and visitors to the city. So at this juncture, I'm not sure of plans for the building. I know that it will definitely take someone to get things off the ground locally while living in or around Bowling Green. And I'm not sure how to interpret that as to whether he's planning to come and live or if he's going to be in contact with someone who lives in or around Bowling Green. So that's what he writes.
Could we be interpreting it that he would like us to be part of this venture?
Well, it's fairly indirect if that's what he's indicating. I know that Rose Drain, on behalf of Song, was in touch with him. So I mentioned that when I responded to this email and said, maybe there's some interest there because they expressed an interest in pursuing it.
What does he want to turn it into? A hostel?
A hostel, yeah.
So like temporary housing,
Yeah.
visitors, like bicyclists coming through maybe, or
That kind of thing, I think.
how many transient visitors would we have of that price range kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure how realistic it is.
I mean, assuming it's because like it's big open classrooms, it'd be like a dorm kind of thing,
Right. That would be
rather
more,
than cutting it
yeah.
up into little.
That's probably why it says hostel.
Yeah,
Europe.
it's an interesting idea. I don't know how feasible it is.
I did notice that last time I had checked, it was no longer listed online, and now it's listed again. But the price he's asking has gone from $500,000 to $350,000. So, when he says that I'm not sure of plans for the building, that's true. He's selling it and also thinking of developing it. So.
And I'm not sure we are in a position to actually do very much.
No, I don't think
except
until
support the saving of that building,
Yeah.
Whatever that might mean. But perhaps we can stay in communication with him and just express our hope that he can save the building.
Okay, I will do that as an outcome of this meeting. I can write to him.
Good, thank you, Jeff. Former hospital, 416 West Worcester. This is the building now owned by Anissa Miller. Anissa had hoped to be here. She was unable to come, but she sent me a message. She asked me to share this with our commission. She's moving ahead with plans to develop a 2-housing unit within that building. So she is hoping to save the structure. She's intending to install a new roof later this fall. Apparently the roof is not in good shape. And that will be a large expense, but we appreciate her not tearing it down and coming up with a possible solution for keeping it standing and repairing it, making it a livable space.
That's good news. I hope it does move ahead. I know some people I've talked to didn't like the idea of dividing it up, but I think anything that allows one to preserve it in some form is a good idea.
I'm helping her with those ideas. So
Good.
we've been brainstorming.
You are helping, or you've
I
been
am.
talking with her about
Yeah.
it. I know she mentioned your name, so
Yep.
thank you. That's great. Do you have any other updates?
I mean, I don't know if I should because I haven't talked to her about talking about publicly, so
All right.
I shouldn't
Okay.
without her blessing. So
Okay. The home on 503 Buttonwood, Gene Ladd's house, Will.
Yeah, I met with Gene and Charles Ladd, and they signed the consent to designate the property historic. So I've given that to to Heather. And she felt that a letter needed to be put together that was similar to, and Heather sent me a copy of the 328 East Court Street that went to, the letter then came from the planning department, went to the city council. And it had a brief description of the property, and then it had the checklist that showed which items it met. So I'll do something, and I'll work with Heather on that, and for it to be voted on, and we could put the vote in on the letter and submit it.
So you're working on that form?
Yep.
Great, thank
So
you.
that'll be for the August. Should finalize it. And
So assuming that we can get that form finished and get signatures, and we can bring it up for a vote
yep.
in August.
Yeah. So all that Rolly's holding would be to get a letter together to go to council with the package. Gene gave me a sheet of people that have lived there. It's like, I don't know how many pages. So
Show Christine.
I gave, it starts in 1892. The house was built in 1888, but it goes through the different people that live there. So Heather has a copy of this to submit with the package. And the prominent citizen was Harold Henry Harms. And they had the ice cream factory, sold ice cream out of the property there before it got subdivided. And he was the originator of the Henry part, is Henry Manufacturing, and became Henry Filder. And then the son, she actually had an obituary. I saw him last week, and she had an obituary that came, I think, from Columbus paper. And it was the 10th child of 10 of the Harms passed away. And at one point in, I think, 1959, the company was started in 1952. So I think in 1959, he had moved back from Rochester, New York, I think it was, and was the manager. So he was involved with the factory also.
The Henry
The son,
Filters.
yep.
Yeah. Now, was that located on Maple Street eventually, down at
I'm not sure where the
the city building?
I don't know. The
Waterworks?
description that I read, it just said that the Henry Manufacturing started in 1952 in a garage, but it doesn't say. In the Ladds, they don't recall a garage being there, that it could have been there, but don't know where that's at.
Interesting.
So I'll get with Heather to get a letter put together and ready for us to vote on in August. And
Great.
For what it's worth, I was looking into the property and found in a BGSU yearbook from the 1950s a photograph of two young women eating ice cream. And you can't see very much in the background, but the caption says that they're eating at the
Harms. Oh, that's
Great. Okay, thanks, Will. Rose Drain had brought up the possibility of the University Pond and the windmill for potential designation, I think. We're not going to discuss that today, but I want to keep it on the agenda for next time. Okay, we'll move on to number 5, interpretive signage project. I think we're all delighted to be at this stage where we've installed the signs, and the QR codes are up and running, and I think work. I haven't tried them yet, but
Oh, they do.
I think they're There's a lot of great information there, and I think they look terrific. I want to again express my thanks so much to our subcommittee, Jeff, of course, but Dick Martin and Jan Knapp and Rose Drain. We couldn't have had a better committee to work on this. So you each had your own special talents, and we definitely needed them. But I'm delighted with the results. I mentioned to a couple of people up here that we did a live radio broadcast yesterday. Clint Corp interviewed me on WBGU discussing the signage project, and he was saying how delighted he was and how wonderful our images were and our signage. So, and at this point, I haven't heard that we've gotten any dates wrong. So far, so good.
That's good.
Yeah. Let's keep it that way, I hope. But thanks again, everybody that was involved with that. It's been more than a year working. Every week we had meetings. I think it was a lot of dedication. There will be a ribbon cutting ceremony on August 16th at 11:30. That will be in the Wooster Green. This will be partially for the Wooster Green dedication, and they've just installed 2 signs of the major donors for that green. But we will be part of that. Dick and Nadine Edwards will be talking. I'll be saying a few words, and then they have the big pair of scissors, I guess, and we'll cut the ribbon.
I've seen the scissors. There will be a musical program starting at 11. Mike Williams is going to play for a half hour, and then he'll play the national anthem to kick off the event.
So I would invite all of our commissioner members to come if they can. Certainly I'll be there, and we can cheer on the ceremony of the signs and also the Wooster Green.
We should also thank Hallie for putting together the QR code material and that nice map, which
yes.
I've already used when people have asked me. I posted one sign on Facebook, and somebody said, "Can you post the rest of them?" And I was able to just post the link to that so that you can see all of the signs on that website.
That's great. One of the descendants of a building downtown, I think we mentioned this last meeting, but I'll just say it again, the Gagan building on the southwest corner of Main and Worcester. Marcia Coover is a descendant of the Gagans, and she is planning to be here, and we'll recognize her.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville? And you know her a little bit? Okay. That's, and perhaps the Naders will be invited to as part of the Milliken Hotel.
Yeah, Larry said that they're coming.
Yeah.
Makes me think that we could do a building of the month for the Gagan building if we can find more information. Or do we have enough, do you think, for...
I don't have anything current. 1900, that type of...
Let's put that down anyway as something we could research a little bit more. Okay. Anything else on the signs? Christina, have you had a chance to see them?
I have. They look great. They're
Yeah.
beautiful.
I can't remember. Do we have one in front of Juniper's, or is it at the crosswalk? Maybe it's
I haven't even gone outside to see that one, but I saw the one at Worcester Green
okay.
and a couple of the other ones. But
Okay.
I don't remember. I think it's across the street.
No, there's one on each side at the crosswalk there.
Is there one on each side?
There is
I
one
know
more or
there's-
less outside of Juniper, yeah.
Good.
It's the one, that one is facing
They're facing the opposite ways,
yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
you're looking that way.
Right. The
Yep.
one on the east side, you're looking north, so you can see the same perspective that is presented.
Street from the 1800s, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6, North Maple Street District. So at our next meeting, we're scheduling a public hearing for that proposal. And I have, let me find, and you may all have this already, but I'll give you another copy. And this is a rationale for why we're proposing this. So you can all read this over again just to be familiar with that area and some of the homes that are. Dick, if you want a copy, I can give you one here. Okay. And why we think it's important to make this a historic district. There's been a lot of major city officials that have lived on those 2 blocks. Schatzel, for example, of Schatzel Hall. Michael Mott, some of you remember Michael Mott, who wrote The 7 Mountains of Thomas Merton. It was a best-selling biography, and he won a runner-up for a Pulitzer Prize. The home where Anissa Miller lives on Maple Street, her former husband, Jaak Panksepp, was a world-renowned psychobiologist who founded the term affective neuroscience. He also is known as a rat tickler in the popular press for his research on laughter in non-human animals. But he's world-renowned, or was. He died in 2017. Myron Case at 132 North Maple was president of the Bowling Green Exchange Bank. Some current residents, George Bullerjohn is famous for his work with microbiology with the Great Lakes. So you can go through and read this. We will have perhaps some questioning about why we want to do this and what it will mean to the residents as far as their requirements for making changes, having to have a COA in order to make major changes to their home. So please help me prepare for that. I really don't know how many people we might have come for that.
But Heather is concerned that we're able to talk about, answer questions, fairly specific questions about what it means for them, for residents, if they want to change or repair or remodel their houses.
I think we're being as gentle as we can with the requirements. But if we want to keep those 2 blocks looking pretty much like they do right now, it's perhaps the only way that they can happen. There's a procedure for a public hearing. This will be our first one. So I'm learning how to do this along with all of you. I'll read the agenda of why we're having a public hearing, and then explain that there's several points that make this applicable for a historic district. There's 11 possible reasons why we might designate a historic district in Bowling Green, and we need to have at least 2 of those points in order to move forward with the designation. And for these 2 blocks, we've determined that Primarily, the homes are at least 50 years old. They possess historic significance. They're identified with persons or groups of people who influence society. They embody a distinctive characteristic of an architectural type, and its unique location or singular physical characteristic represent an established and familiar visual feature of a neighborhood. So I'll read some of that next week, and then we'll talk about the requirements and the survey, which we did last January. And then I'll invite anyone who wants to come forward to ask questions or make statements. I will limit them to 3 minutes per statement. Sound okay?
What are you looking at there? Is that the actual ordinance?
This is something that Heather provided me with, and maybe we need to get.
Have her send that to us, so if it would be good.
Pardon me.
Maybe have her send us.
Or I
Would be good.
can send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be valuable that you.
I noted you previously had asked about, looking at the questions and the answers, FAQs, and also reading through the ordinance to be familiar with that.
Does anybody need another copy of the FAQs? Do we all can you all find those? Okay.
So will the city council will be here also?
I'm sorry?
Will city council also be here?
No. At this point, it's just a hearing for the commission.
Okay.
And then once we have done that and we have decided if we want to go forth with it, we will make a motion to the city council with that information, and city council will hold another public hearing at that point.
So
Heather.
if we choose to, we could amend anything we wanted to in the map or the site or based on feedback from the public?
I think so.
If there was enough pushback or whatever, or owners or
Right.
public in general, they said they didn't like something, we could take that into consideration and possibly amend things.
Absolutely.
It'd be good if you have the latest FAQs. That would be good.
Okay. To all of
I
us.
think it'd be good. That way we all have a current copy of,
Okay.
probably to bring them.
FAQs and the public hearing information.
Heather does have some notes. She said that the letter is ready to be mailed along with the map and a flow chart showing the process. Said this will be mailed around August 5th. And it would be helpful if all the historic research surveys and everything are included in one document. That way, once you make your recommendation, that could all be sent to council at one time.
Okay. When you're talking about the letter to the residents, or
Yes,
Yeah.
and I have a copy of the letter up here as well. So,
okay, do you have a copy that I could have?
yep, I can make copies at the end of the meeting.
Okay. So the residents will be alerted to that hearing, and I think there's specified 3 weeks before.
10 days.
Or 10 days?
I think it was
Is
10
that what it
days.
is? Yep. Okay. All right. Anything else on the procedure? Any other suggestions? I will lead at least the beginning of that session, and then as we get questions, either you all can take them, or I might direct you to take them, so that I don't have to answer everything. Particularly since I live on that street. You all are seeing it from a different perspective, and I think that makes a difference too. Okay. We're moving onward, unless there's any other discussion. Friends of the HPC, number 7. Jeff and I communicated a little bit about the calendar for historic buildings of the month. And I can read what we're proposing at this point, and we can move this around. But August will be the BG Country Club. September, Jeff is working on a recognition of the old Huntington Bank building, 130 South Main. And that's finished or almost finished?
It's almost finished, yeah.
Then October, we're proposing the Hannah House, which I think Heather, or Heidi and Jeff both helped rewrite.
Yeah, that sort of developed on the weekend after we had already communicated about this list. And both Heidi and I did edits on the text that was sent us through by Rose from the owners. And I think she sent both of them back to the owners.
Yes, I didn't realize she was going to do that.
I didn't either.
It would have been.
I thought we were still working on them.
Right.
She sent the edits back.
Yes.
Yeah, and so instead of getting one
Copy.
collated
Final version.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
mine incorporated yours.
Yeah,
but
you based
also
yours
had-
on mine, but
you had questions, and then I had
Yeah.
questions. Then it wasn't.
and the questions might have been to the owners, but not necessarily the ones that I had. Some of them were things that they may have been able to tell us about. It was, one, for example, was simply it wasn't clear when the present owners moved into the house, and we just needed to have that information.
Yeah.
So it was just a little awkward, but not any crises there.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think it's anything that would offend them. I was just
Okay.
looking for more clarification. But if I had known it was going directly to the author, then I would have phrased it,
Yeah.
written a list of questions or something. Or
Yeah, made it more convenient, right?
yeah, I mean it's a edited version, so it's like they're always weird because they're highlighted and comments, and if you don't know how to read
And
those,
yeah,
and
if you
select
have
the
to know
right
how to use the
thing.
comment
function.
function.
Right. Anyway, that's
But it's a neat house, and
Yeah, I think it's going to be
a really
fine.
Cool. I think it's a neat house to feature because it's a mid-century modern, so it's a very different style than
Right.
your typical Victorian, but it's historically, stylistically unique.
Yeah. It was built the same year I was born, and so it's well past the 50-year mark.
Is that old?
It's fallen down.
You're in better shape.
This is relevant to our further discussion. I've been in touch with Becky Mancuso at the university. She does local history. She's the person in the history department that does most local history. And she has a class on public history, a grad course in the fall. And she wants to involve her students in writing some of these reports. There are a couple of other people teaching relevant classes as well, but she got in touch with them kindly, but hasn't heard back from them yet. And so that was actually Heather's idea. She has written the high school, and she asked me if I knew anyone at the university, and I knew Becky. Another relevant aspect of that is she said her students are really interested in mid-century modern, right? And so that's history now, whether we like it or not.
yeah. So we want to involve them.
It sounds like a great idea. Yeah, if they're
Right.
enthusiastic and willing to do that,
Yeah, and she's enthusiastic, so.
it's cool.
So are you thinking, Jeff, of before the new year or after?
Well, I think I need to talk to her a little bit more before we decide that. In any case, if they come up with things, we can be flexible I think. For example, I'm scheduled for writing about the glass factories for December, but if we get something from them, there's no reason we can't change that. And it depends also on the owners of the churros and the Weinberger houses, how soon we get their materials. So.
And we could suggest to them a home to research rather than they suggest to us. I mean, it could go both ways.
Yeah. And I've sent our whole list of what we've done in the past, that Excel file, to Becky. And then I wrote her a follow-up to tell her which one of the proposed buildings we already have people writing about and which ones we don't. For example, the Painted Lady or the Public Defender, which have been on our list for a long time. We don't have anyone doing those, so they could. Those are possibilities for them to look into.
And you had mentioned Ivy Hall that Dale's working on. Or has.
Dale has lots of information on Ivy Hall. I'll work with him to put it together into a history. If Ivy Hall no longer exists, it was when it was called Ivy Hall. It was a women's dormitory at the university, and it stood right where Thurston Avenue runs right now. If you look at old maps, Thurston and Manville didn't meet.
Yeah.
So they had to move Thurston, put that curve in there to get them to come together for traffic purposes. But before that, they tore down Ivy Hall, which stood in that space. And it was also, at one point, it was a gun factory, and at one point, it was an underwear factory. Those are the three main things that it was. And when it was Ivy Hall, there are nice pictures of it. There's one, in fact, in the that pictorial history that we call cut glass, covered with ivy. So.
We also had a message from Rose Drain about, again, the Weinberger House near the Montessori School, or did you suggest that, Will?
No, it was in the minutes before.
Okay. That's another one we can be thinking about. And then Rose also was, she was bringing up, as I mentioned before, the old windmill, which is no longer a windmill, and the lake, the university lake. But we can be looking for other interesting homes too that we want to highlight. Clint Corp was saying yesterday when I spoke with him, he was saying how popular this project is, that so many people comment on those articles about historic homes in our town, and so we want to keep this going. I think it's a really a nice thing that we do, and it catches a lot of attention,
and it shows a different aspect of the functions of the commission. We're not just there to make sure people keep their houses in historic order, but there's a lot of public information going on, and the sign project, of course, will also feed into that.
Good. Okay, but we're okay for August and September, and then we'll revisit that rest of that calendar next time. Public relations, number 8. Past workshops, Wood County District Library genealogy chats, July 3rd, which has already happened. And if these walls could talk, July 22nd. Wood County Museum, First Fridays, and Make It and Take It Craft, July 5th. Music at the Museum, July 11th. Online silent auction fundraising, July 10 through 19. And Poor Farm Fundraiser, July 19th. Future workshops, Wood County District Public Library, genealogy chats, August 2nd. And read all about it, Introduction to Digital Newspapers, August 16th. Wood County Museum free first Fridays and Make It and Take It Craft, August 2nd. Music at the Museum, August 8th. Living History Day, August 25. All events at the Wood County History Museum. And then we're still talking about our Tell Your History at Junipers. And I'm hoping Christina can give us some ideas for that.
Yeah, so we have been working on and thinking about dates, and I know we were thinking about possibly doing, this on a quarterly basis. So we haven't come up with exact dates quite yet. We've had some leadership shifting that happened in July unexpectedly. So at Juniper, so I'm hoping to email the group and just check with you and see if, the third Monday of every month would work for everyone, or if people are comfortable saying, something like that as it relates to each quarter. So I'll email the group once I have an idea of what that should
So
be.
you can propose something. You want to do that by email or, okay.
Yeah, I'll do it by email.
When might we try to have our first one?
Yeah, I think August might be a good.
Think we can do it in August?
Yeah.
And I know I mentioned in my email to you, Christine, about a leader.
Yes.
Were you thinking that's something you could or would want to do, or should we ask one of our historic friends?
I think a historic friend might be better because they probably have more knowledge of Bowling Green and certain historical buildings here. But I'll look to you to make a suggestion for that. I mean, I can certainly facilitate, but I wouldn't be able to contribute anything.
We have somebody sitting here with us today. Who is probably the most knowledgeable history person in the city.
So at least the kickoff would.
Yeah, we were thinking in August, probably before the students move in. So I think move-in weekend is sort of middle of the month. So maybe the first or second week of August.
Stories of, I'm not quite sure exactly, the personal history, which is not me.
Mm-hmm.
Stories of things in the city or buildings or
Yeah.
events.
Yeah, I think it's just an open mic, really.
Dick, can you come up maybe in case somebody is watching online? Yeah, open mic, so it could be about anything, right? Christina?
Exactly.
I think that was our idea.
I think that's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably put something together for a couple minute type of stories, or I mean, if I had an idea what you wanted, it wouldn't be too hard to put together some things that people may not be aware of, stories, either things that happened in certain buildings or people, ever think about a little bit, but yeah.
Well, and this wouldn't be necessarily all your responsibility.
Right.
I mean, we would want people.
Yes.
Walk in
I'd
and-
have 3 minutes or something like that. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you could mediate it, that would be great.
Pardon?
If you could mediate it, that would be great. Because we're relying on people to tell
depend on
their
the date,
stories.
and we're going to be gone some the end of August, so
Okay.
we'll have to see about that.
When are you gone in August, just so I can write this down?
Okay, I still use the old paper date book, so pardon
That's
me
okay.
while I get to that.
I was thinking that we could announce it on the ribbon cutting on August 16th, maybe even.
So you're looking late August?
Maybe. I don't know. I was thinking more in the mid area. Maybe. Yeah.
What about that day?
So after the students, or
I know. Students come back. Don't they come back maybe?
7.
We start meetings. Let's see. What date is the 16th? Is that
16th's a Friday.
Friday.
We start meetings maybe that week of the 16th.
So when did students move in then?
And then the students would move in that weekend. And
Tractor pull weekend.
yeah,
Yeah, that's that weekend.
right.
We're gone that weekend. I mean, it was really good that they changed the sign dedication to 11:30 for me because we weren't going to be able to be there. And now it's with it at 11:30. We've just delayed. We're going to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and we just delayed our departure several hours to so I can be there. Because I'm glad, but I'll have to cut out right after. So that weekend is. Are you talking a weekday type thing?
Correct.
Well,
Yeah,
I
like
know
that next Wednesday or like maybe the Wednesday after that Friday. You know, you have the ribbon cutting on Friday, then
yeah, and
instead of having something before
I would
the
not
ribbon.
be there on the 21st. I could do it the 20th or 22nd. The following week is pretty well open.
Okay.
That would be the last full week of August.
Now, Dick, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, is there somebody maybe in the genealogy society that you could recommend?
Well, I'm comfortable doing it if I can get some support, maybe from. I mean, I wouldn't be all alone, and you know, we could kind of. I don't know how many to expect. I mean, you know, there's a lot of unknowns on.
Yeah, we don't know either. I would think there'll be considerable interest. I mean, people like to get up and talk about their house and their history here. But
So, are they going to register in advance so we know who's coming, or so it's just a walk in and okay? Well, I mean, that shouldn't be too hard to be a master of ceremonies for. I mean, he's going to say, okay,
Yeah.
who wants to go next? And
Right. Exactly. Yep.
I think it would be something like the story slams that we do for German American
Yeah,
Day.
yeah.
You've been to a couple of those, where you keep it fairly loose because you
Yeah.
don't know who's coming and how many. And
yeah, I mean, like you and I could do that or whatever. Sure. Yeah, that last week is at this point completely open.
Okay.
so do we want to think about just have anybody show up, or do we want to have somehow a sign up in advance? So, you know, I mean, if by chance we had 30 people that want to talk, we can't do that.
what we do at the German American Day is have them sign up at the beginning of the meeting, at least, so we
There you
know
go.
who wants to talk. And I guess if 30 people
So
show up,
First, have to shut it
first
off
hand.
after
You
a
just
certain
have so
number.
many slots.
Yeah,
There's
we'd
just a
have to- yeah,
paper
first
that
come,
has so
first
many
served.
slots.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
if we only have 5, or if we only have 1, then Dick can just talk the whole hour.
Don't know about that.
Or we can get Dale to come in and talk.
Yeah, talk. Oh,
You'd think like the 21st, like a Wednesday?
Can't be there the
21st I can't.
21st.
That week is out for
Can't
me.
be
Oh,
there
that
the
whole week's
21st.
out?
Well-
I have to check with my folks to
Because
make
I think
sure.
even if you have the
Tuesday-
date and you could announce at the ribbon cutting, I think that would be
That's what I
that
was
would
saying.
draw. That would kind of be the
That's
the
what I
draw.
was thinking. At first, I was thinking maybe the beginning of August would be good, but then I thought, you know what, it'd be great if we could announce it at the
Yeah.
ribbon cutting
Yeah.
So
and
like
really
a
have the
continuation.
kickoff.
Here's
Correct. Yeah.
this, and then the next is we want to tell some stories.
Exactly. Yep. I think that would be really, really meaningful.
and if we publicize it on the Facebook
Exactly.
page of Historic BG, that's what people do on that Facebook page all
Yep.
the time,
Yeah.
is
Exactly.
tell their stories.
And maybe a 7 o'clock time. What do you think?
Let me check I'll email the group, but I was
You have
thinking.
my email too, do you? Or somebody has it, I'm sure.
Say that again?
Yeah, my email, would you have?
Actually, I don't have your email.
Okay, it's Martin, MARTIN
Okay.
.15 at osu.edu.
OSU.
Yep. I worked for him for 30 years, so
Okay.
I have a low number. You know, that when
Yeah.
they set these out, I'd been there quite a while.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'll make sure to include you.
Okay. And on the Hannah house you were talking about, is that the one? I assume that the new owners have like Drew Hanna would be a walking encyclopedia of that house. In fact, before he put it up for sale, he had my wife and I and a few others come over for dinner and gave us a tour of the house and told the whole history of his dad building it and how they bought the lots and how one lot is still available that could be subdivided and Drew's a storyteller, so it was a very interesting thing. So, the new people, I don't think have even been there 2 years yet, have they? I don't believe.
From what I could tell from that.
Maybe time goes fast,
Yeah.
but yeah, Drew definitely would have the knowledge of that somebody else would not have. So, anything else before I sit down?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, are we saying August 28th now, or the Wednesday? Is that,
She's got to check.
you're still checking?
Yeah, I'm going to check and then I'll email the group.
That whole week is fine with me.
Yep, I saw that. So you said the 20th or the 22nd or the following week. So that's when it will most likely be.
Or the following week, yeah.
Yes, most likely it will be on a Monday or a
I
Sunday.
prefer the following week.
Prefer the following week. You got it. Okay. Okay.
So just share that with us by email.
Yep,
So we
absolutely.
get it nailed down. So
Will
we can
do.
all get it in our book. Excellent. That's the end of our agenda.
Great.
Amazing. Dick, did you have anything else to share?
No.
Any other last breaking news? Nope. Do we have anybody that would like to call for adjournment?
Well, first I'll just say, and I can talk to Drew about that. I think we have a little bit of time to incorporate that into the story because he's offered before to talk to me about these kind of things. So,
Very knowledgeable.
Yeah,
and likes to share it.
and likes to share. Yeah. And now,
Beautiful house inside, but it's like you're walking into the 1950s.
Yeah, I went through when they had an estate sale, and so everything was beautiful.
Anybody want to call for adjournment?
I'd make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Okay. We are officially adjourned.